Hello, and welcome to UTB Blogcast number 115. With me tonight is Brad, Roy, and the other Brad. Say hello, boys.
Hello,
Hello,
boys.
boys.
So tonight we're going to dive into pretty much our only topic, and that is the BlackBerry versus Facebook suit. So, Brad, start us out.
Go ahead,
Brad.
Brad. Oh, okay. Sorry. No, it is a huge topic. I mean, this is something that I think a lot of us have questioned before, why BlackBerry hasn't gone after people that are using their patents. But looking at these patents in this suit, I was absolutely shocked at some of these things. So a lot of the patent disputes that we see really comes down to the technology aspect, right? It's like A flips B switch and B switch flips C switch, and this is what we're suing about because this other company did this. Looking at this suit, they're not so much going after the technology as the overall general ideas. You know, these are things that we invented, we created for our systems, and now Facebook has come along and they've used everything that we've created to still our customers onto their system. That's essentially what I get out of the overall claim. And we've got all the different patents. There's 7 different patents that are being sued about that we'll go over each and every one of those. But am I reading that right, guys? Is that pretty much what it is? It's like, look, you're using our badges, so you need to license that?
Yes. It seems like BlackBerry suing Facebook for using BlackBerry technology. And now I realize it when I use Facebook Messenger, I actually used BBM.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I think most of the patents are not patents that we as users can see and feel. But I want to know if Facebook copycat BlackBerry 1-to-1, or maybe they changed something in code, maybe they invented something else. It will be important in the court to see if BlackBerry really been copycat.
I really don't think it's going to come down to the code in this. If you read the suit, I don't think they're looking at the code as being the problem, the technology. It's more along the lines of the idea, you know, that this is what the end result is and this is what they've stole. I mean, there's definitely more of a case here from this layman's point of view than Apple saying Samsung copied, you know, an oblong phone with rounded corners.
yeah. So if you look at some of the patents that they have listed, you know, things like patent 8279173, this is a patent that pretty much auto-completing box for tagging contacts in photos. We've never had any of that concept in BBM, right? If you throw a photo,
we didn't have it in BBM, but I believe, and because we were going to run through it, I believe that's something that we had in the Facebook app on BBOS.
Yeah, but that was there on Facebook website too, I believe.
Right, but the patent is for on a mobile device.
Yeah. So the way I look at this whole lawsuit, I don't think it's really technically, it's written out on paper, BlackBerry versus Facebook, right? But I really think this is BlackBerry versus WhatsApp. Because if you think of it, Facebook bought WhatsApp, right? And if you look at overall the overall development of WhatsApp over the years of its development, it's feature by feature by feature by feature a copy of BlackBerry Messenger. We've said that for years, that WhatsApp is outright carbon copy of WhatsApp. And I think this is where this is going or they should go, or I don't know. If WhatsApp wasn't part of Facebook, would they really? And WhatsApp was just their own company, right? Whatever. Would they be suing Facebook still, or would they be going after WhatsApp right now?
Well, I mean,
Depends.
it is one company. And yes, Facebook is
now, yeah.
outright copied. But if you look at each one of the separate parts of the case, they're using screenshots from WhatsApp, from Facebook Messenger, from the messaging within Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, we look at it as in Facebook is a direct copy of, WhatsApp is a direct copy of BBM, and it is, but they're also using all of those patents in every single one of the messaging applications across the board.
Yeah, and I know you said you wanted to go through this bit by bit, but I mean, things like a badge number on the app to tell you how many messages you have there sitting there. You know, that's something we've had on BBM for, you know, that's on Facebook Messenger, that's on WhatsApp. I don't use Instagram Messenger, so I don't know if it's there. I'm sure it's there, but that's something that's been on BBM forever, and it's just, you know,
it's something that's on iOS.
Yeah, it's something on iOS for
everywhere.
You know,
but you've already started going through these. So okay, so let's look at each one of them. So the first one I really don't have much to talk about because it's really technical and it's the cryptographic keys. I'm not about to get into that, but the patent 7372961 covers cryptographic keys and how they're generated, the public and private key. Anybody have anything to say on that one? Because I really don't.
I mean, if Facebook came up with that before BlackBerry did, I'd be shocked.
It's
right.
actually how you encrypt and decrypt your messages.
Yeah.
In the sender receiver side. Just talked about it in simple security, my last episode. And we all know BlackBerry did all of that before Facebook, like 6-7 years before Facebook did. Even 5 to 6 years before WhatsApp did, before even Facebook bought them. So Facebook will never can claim that they did it before BlackBerry.
Yeah, and there's no way they'll win that patent dispute or whatever, because of the fact that, like I said, if you told me Facebook came up with this patent or came up with this idea before BlackBerry did, I'd be shocked, and I'll stop using my BlackBerry device tomorrow or whenever they decide who wins that. So that's written. It's recorded now. So if that does happen, I need a new phone.
Maybe you could get that old Facebook phone. Whoever, I forget who made it, but the one that had the little Facebook.
Yeah, that HTC phone. That was a phone that I initially wanted because it was like a new cool looking phone. And I was like, yeah, never mind, forget that. It lasted as long as the Amazon Fire phone.
Yeah, really. Patent number 8209634. That's the one that you already started talking about, Brad, which is the badges that had the numbers so that you can see how many unread messages there are. And that's something that I think is being used all across the mobile landscape right now. The question is, who's paying for it and who's not? Right.
I don't think anybody's paying for it.
We know who's not.
Yeah, we now know who's not.
I don't think Apple is either. I think if this lawsuit goes well, they try to go after Apple for a lot of things.
I still remember when that feature was part of the marketing for one of the iPhones because it was a new feature for Apple at the time.
Yeah,
I remember them highlighting that in the commercials.
Yeah, that was something that they highlighted in one of the old WWDCs or their developer conferences way back. I forget what year that was, but that's something that they were covering back then when that feature was brand new in iOS, whatever it was. And I think it's being used. I don't think anybody's paying for it. I think if Facebook starts paying for it, I think either other companies are going to start paying BlackBerry for it, or BlackBerry's going to start to go after them. And we'll get to that concept more detail later on. But
yeah,
continue, Brett.
Next one up is patent number 8279173. This is auto-completing boxes when tagging contacts and photographs. And that's the one that we started talking about. And I really do think that was an option in the old BBOS Facebook app, which we know was made by BlackBerry because Facebook has never supported BlackBerry. And if you look at the screenshots where they're showing that within the suit, I believe that's an old BBOS Facebook app screenshot.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely in the Facebook BlackBerry app. Of course, my phone's going off, but it was, it was definitely in the Facebook app on BlackBerry devices. That's one of them where it's hard to tell, hard to figure out where it was first, because Facebook, it's not like BlackBerry just developed the entire code for Facebook. Facebook did give them some portions of Facebook's code to input into the BlackBerry OS application on BlackBerry devices. So, who knows where that code actually started for that feature. But, it doesn't surprise me that BlackBerry could have a patent on that. Say, hey, they thought of it one day, put it through the patent realm and said, put it up. And Facebook just started using it.
Let's see. This one's fun because this one's being used everywhere, and it's patent number 8301713. Covers the inclusion of timestamps after a lull in the conversation occurs. And if you look at the screenshots, it's not only just the timestamps also, but it's just notifications, notifiers that there has been a lull in the conversation. So, I mean, you can see that on iOS too within the iMessage app, where you've got the little tells on the messages that when someone sends 3 messages in a row, we see the same thing in BBM, where it kind of, your bubbles kind of merge together, right? It shows that this has been all along. And then you wait an hour and another message pops up. Now you've got a timestamp and it starts a new series of bubbles. So, I mean, that's another one of those things that we as users, I wonder if anybody has ever really looked at that and even wondered who came up with that.
Yeah, I mean, the common theme that we're seeing with all these patents that are part of this lawsuit is that everyone is using most of this stuff.
Right.
Auto completion of tagging of photos. That's more of a Facebook, Instagram app or concept. But everything else is, even the cryptographic keys. If you call yourself a secure messaging platform, where'd you get the idea of cryptographing the keys to your application itself or to your messaging platform? The badges, that's on everywhere, right? Timestamp, the long conversation, you see it in original BBM days. You see it in iMessage. You see it in things like Skype, right? Skype messaging. It's definitely in there. It's in GroupMe. It's in every messaging platform. And most of this patent stuff is in every messaging platform that's on a mobile device today.
Uh, 8429236, and this one has to do with batching messages. So this is something that's kind of interesting because it's something that I don't think I've ever really considered before, where it takes into account if the other person is actually receiving and reading your messages. If they're not, it will send those messages in a batch for when the person is receiving them, versus if they're actually reading them in live, you get them instantly. So it saves power, saves data. Something I never realized was even happening.
I don't think I have never realized that happening either, because BBM has always been that instant messenger, whereas if I send a message to somebody, it automatically gets delivered to them automatically onto their device, whether they've read it in 2 seconds or not. So I wonder if that's just a patent that they've had that's never been implemented into BBM. Maybe I just haven't paid attention to BBM that much, where I've noticed that. That's another possibility.
Yeah, I really don't know. It could be something left over from early stages of BBM.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff could just be stuff that BlackBerry said, hey, we put a patent on it, and it just never came to light.
And is that, now that we're talking about it, is that just the real recent update that WhatsApp did, I'd say within the last year, where you can receive messages offline or send messages offline, where it will store that message until you're online again. I wonder if that's kind of where that is coming from.
I mean, I'm not a big WhatsApp user, but I think that what has become in light as of the past few years. So yeah, I mean, that. Like I said, I wonder how much of this is, they threw Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram all into the lawsuit itself, but I wonder how much of each platform is really the fuel behind the lawsuit itself.
It doesn't really matter because it's all Facebook.
Right.
Well, now it's all Facebook, yes, but
And if WhatsApp was a standalone company, maybe the situation was different, because if WhatsApp was alone, maybe they will pay for all these patents. But we all know Facebook is not the company that will pay patents and play fair.
I still don't think WhatsApp would pay. I mean, like I said before, if you follow the early stage development of WhatsApp to the middle stages development of WhatsApp to where we are now with WhatsApp, it's carbon copy of BBM. They knew exactly what they're copying, but
the WhatsApp founder is a BlackBerry fan. He built WhatsApp to make a bridge between BlackBerry users to iOS users. Back in the days, he was BBM user. This was his inspiration.
Oh, I know that, but just I don't know. It's the fact that even before Facebook was, once WhatsApp got to a point where it became very popular with people, that should have been the point where the WhatsApp CEO said, "Hey, here's BlackBerry. Here's some money for the ideas that we've been kind of using from you."
I don't know if even it's a WhatsApp CEO decision. In the moment, it's under Facebook. Maybe received orders or guidelines what to do.
No, I'm saying before Facebook grabbed them. Because before they were part of Facebook, WhatsApp was still a pretty, well-known chat client and a well-known instant messaging client on mobile, to the point where you had companies that are bidding for them at that point. We don't know when Facebook, started getting into the CEO's mind and saying, "Here, don't do any of this stuff, or do this stuff." But
that's probably about the time that they said that they're going to stop supporting BlackBerry 10.
Yeah.
Let's we've only got 2 patents left, and then we got a lot to talk about. So let's get through these last 2 really quick.
Oh, come on, it's a 5-hour show, right?
No. 8677250. That's the one about the gaming, where game progress can be transmitted via messages. And that is something I do remember. There were games on BBOS. BBM.
Oh yeah, BBM games. It was something you play a game, and you can message with people while you're playing that game. That was a great feature in early day BBM.
Yeah. And then it disappeared during BlackBerry 10, and now it's back with MTech, right?
And the last patent is my favorite.
Light shined on.
The next patent is my favorite.
How to mute a thread, number 9349120.
Yeah.
We call that wanoing somebody. When you wano a thread.
Muting a conversation.
Hey, I've done that to the UTB group many times. I won't deny it.
Okay, so those are the specific patents in the suit. And again, these are very basic things, and it's not really covering the technology aspect of it, except for that first one, the encryption. The rest of it's more along the lines of, I guess you could even say design, right? Design or general idea behind them.
Yeah. Yeah, they could always add that stuff to the suit, right? I'm not too big on the legal side of everything. I don't know my legal ways and ins and outs and such, but I don't see why, if BlackBerry keeps digging through things, they could be like, "Oh, we're adding this to the lawsuit too."
They could. But I think what's happened in the mobile tech world is that so many people are borrowing from each other. It seems like a lot of these patent disputes come down to, was this intricate piece of technology used? Well, it wasn't. Apple didn't use this method to steal from somebody else, so that's their idea now, even though it looks and feels and the experience is exactly the same as somebody else's. It seems like that is pretty much how Facebook and Apple operate anymore. And it's kind of refreshing to see this lawsuit coming up saying, we're not going to play that game. These are our ideas. You know, it doesn't matter if the methodology might have been a little bit different. What you're doing is exactly a ripoff of what we did.
That's exactly what BlackBerry doing for the last few years since they sued Avaya, Blue, Snapdragon, Qualcomm. Who else?
Didn't they have one? I might be getting my lawsuits mixed up. Kodak or something like that. No, that was a long time ago. That was an ancient BlackBerry lawsuit. Never mind.
And BlackBerry never
Been doing this too long.
Which also, go ahead, Roy.
BlackBerry always win. I think they are doing a very good job on choosing who to sue, who to lawsuit, and about what, and when. The lawyers are doing a great job.
And yet they're still being called patent trolls by some people.
That's going to be the anti-BlackBerry people. I mean, it's people, you know, this is what I've been seeing in the Twitter world and the wherever social media world. Why is BlackBerry waiting to do it? Or why is BlackBerry doing this now instead of 4 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road? Well,
because they have the resources they didn't have 5 years ago.
Yeah, if you look at BlackBerry in the past 5 years, they've been coming out of a bankruptcy pretty much. They didn't have money to go through lawsuits and stuff like that. You know how much money is behind this type of a lawsuit. You know, and if you've ever been,
it could take 5 years to build this type of a lawsuit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you've been to any type of court case yourself personally, you know there's a little bit of money involved in paying lawyers and court fees and all that stuff. Times that by this size of a company or these two sides of the companies, Facebook and BlackBerry, you're adding, you know, tens of thousands of dollars. I don't know how much money is behind it, but tons of money that BlackBerry hasn't had in the past 5 years. And
BlackBerry responded and said, why is they doing just now? They said they had dialogue with Facebook for the last few years.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe they came to conclusions that Facebook are not willing to pay anything, and this is the last step they can do to get their intellectual property.
And realistically, if you want to take and I'm not even going to say it's that tinfoil hat of an idea. I mean, nobody thought BlackBerry would still be alive right now except us hardcore BlackBerry users, right? So. I mean, Facebook is, they've been having a dialogue with them for the last several years, just waiting for them to die. Because we know that when, you know, Thorsten put BlackBerry up for sale, nobody wanted the company. They all wanted the patents. And now it kind of adds to that, hey, maybe they were out wanting BlackBerry to die. Maybe that's why they didn't want to support BlackBerry 10 or even BBOS, because once BlackBerry's gone, those patents are up for grabs, and they know that they're out there using those patents. I mean, how many of these companies that use things such as the badges, how many of these companies were just really anxious to get a hold of BlackBerry's patents if BlackBerry were to go away?
Yeah, I mean, if you know, with Facebook, I don't think this has anything to do with Facebook not supporting BlackBerry 10 because they didn't really support BlackBerry 10 from the beginning, and there was no signs of BlackBerry dying at that time frame. You know, they were in a.
I'll use that exact statement as an argument for the other side. Go ahead.
So at that time, things were, they were rocky in the BlackBerry world, but you know, BlackBerry 10 was supposed to be the Hail Mary pass and savior and so save that company itself. So Facebook might have been okay, maybe they're on the edge of the cliff, but they're not yet pushed off yet. And this is, the thing is either going to push them off or push them back away from the edge. So, I mean,
but see, that's kind of the thing though, because BlackBerry wasn't dead or dying at that point in time. That story didn't really hit until we had the problems with the Z10. That's when all that started. But Facebook did not support BlackBerry or BlackBerry 10 from the very beginning. Meanwhile, they did go out and support, what was it, the Nintendo DS or something? I mean, they supported all these other little things that had less of a user base than BlackBerry at that time. I mean, they purposely chose not to support BlackBerry while they supported much smaller and much more risky projects.
Well, I mean, they gave BlackBerry the code and had BlackBerry develop the app for them.
It was a public API. They didn't give BlackBerry anything. It was a public API, and that's...
They still let them use the API itself. I mean...
That's what the word public means. It was a public API. And Facebook ended up killing that public API is when BlackBerry killed, the Facebook app on BB10 and just left it out as a web link. Because it was a public API. It was there available for people to use. And Facebook never built anything for BlackBerry. They didn't give BlackBerry anything. That was a public API for other companies to use. But Facebook did go out and support a lot of much smaller projects and items that aren't even around now.
Yeah. I mean, they probably did want the patents from BlackBerry. I mean, who wouldn't? Do you see anything worth of Palm right now?
TCL owns Palm. The branding anyway, not
the
Web
branding
OS.
itself. But do you see? I mean, WebOS is in some TV technologies right now, but that's about it.
Yeah.
HP bought up Palm, when it was dying, just for the patents, and now TCL owns most of it. So, yeah, I'm sure they wanted it a little bit, but I don't think. I don't know.
I do. I think that if BlackBerry came knocking on Facebook's door or WhatsApp's door over the last 4 years, when everybody thought, well, next month for sure BlackBerry's dead, right? Because that's all we've heard for the last 4 years. It's like, yeah, we'll talk to them. We'll play with them and play them out and just let the company die, and then we don't have to worry about it. I could totally see that happening. And, now BlackBerry is in no danger. It's in no risk of going away. As I think it was Erica said, they have the method of going after them now, because that has been one of the big complaints is why did BlackBerry wait so long? And I think you've already covered it, that, I mean, realistically, they couldn't have taken on Facebook 2 years ago. They just couldn't have done it.
They couldn't have even done it 5 years ago, or even that. I mean, and then if you say,
I'm not even sure they could really do it now, to be honest. This is a total David versus Goliath lawsuit.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think BlackBerry feels like they have a good fighting chance for this lawsuit, and they have a very good fighting chance for that. I mean, if there was very little proof, I don't think we would see this lawsuit right now, of course. But I think, I mean, they have a lot of money left over from the Qualcomm lawsuit, so I wonder how much of that money is going into this. And we have the other agreements and such. I'm sure. I mean, they're making money right now, so I think even if someone asked me why didn't they do this in early day BBM or early day Facebook Messenger? Because we didn't think of anything of it. Right, BlackBerry probably didn't think of anything of Facebook Messenger becoming what it is today. I mean, it's probably one of the most, if not most used messaging applications out there for some strange reason. But
well, prior management, we're not fighters.
I don't know if you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but 5 years ago there was a rumor, or it was published in Business Insider. I remember that I posted on Berry.io. BlackBerry executive met with Facebook executives about Facebook buying BlackBerry.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was referring to before, the companies that were coming out and attempting to buy portions
Yeah.
of BlackBerry, not all of BlackBerry. That they were very clear they didn't want the whole company.
So
Yeah,
BlackBerry
I'm sure they
wanted
just
Facebook to buy
wanted
all the
patents
BlackBerry
and such.
company, because Facebook at the time wanted to develop their own smartphones. And by buying BlackBerry at the time, they can get BBM, BlackBerry, the security, all the patents. I
I
think John
remember we
Chen
were
ruined.
very scared of that happening.
I think John Chen ruined Facebook and other companies' dreams. He just shattered them.
And again, I mean, this would not be happening without John Chen, and it wouldn't be happening under the past management. The past management, they were not fighters. They didn't defend themselves. Anybody could come out and say anything, make any sort of attack on BlackBerry, and they didn't care. It's like they didn't even notice. It was only when John Chen entered BlackBerry, and honestly Marty Beard, that you saw BlackBerry suddenly get that fighting spirit. And we celebrated it because we'd never seen it before.
Yeah. Maybe Thorsten Hines might have fought this one, but I don't know. He might have been the only other CEO in the BlackBerry realm that might have fought this.
He wouldn't have had a chance. That was
that was too early. But as someone who's been covering BlackBerry for as long as I've been covering them, and using BlackBerry Messenger for as long as I've been using BlackBerry Messenger, and seeing people jump ship to other messaging platforms that were basically the child of BBM. I can absolutely see where BlackBerry is coming from this lawsuit. It's hey, you've developed your own messaging platform using a lot of our technology, a lot of our patents itself, and we've got nothing for it. You've also have driven away our customers from our own platform by using our own platform technology. So, give us money for it.
That's exactly what it says in their case, is that it's hurt them. It's hurt BlackBerry. They've suffered the damages of it.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people are coming after BlackBerry and calling them patent trolls, because it's like, oh well, you guys have lost in the war now, so you're going to come after them in the legal battle. Yeah, they lost because Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram all as one company started using their own technology against them, which is legally not right.
They're not really trolls, though. If they're fighting for their own property, they're not really trolls.
No, I know. I don't think they are.
That they've acquired in an effort to fight for it. This is something that they literally created themselves.
Yeah,
and that they use. That's kind of my definition of a patent troll. Do they own a patent that they're not using, that's just sitting there collecting dust, waiting for somebody else to do something like it so they can go sue them for it and get money off of it? Versus a company that is still alive, still creating, still innovating, still handing out, or still creating products that use that technology. That's not a patent troll.
Yeah. Like if BlackBerry, if some company was for some strange reason using a trackball still on their smartphone, and BlackBerry went after them and said, "Hey, that's our technology, we're suing you," then that would be a patent troll, because there hasn't been a BlackBerry device with a trackball in it since the Bold 9000 or whatever before that. But the fact that BBM is still an existing platform, still being used by millions of users today, that's something that they should be fighting for and going after. Think about back to the what was it called, typo case, whatever, that Ryan Seacrest keyboard thing. Another example of BlackBerry fighting. BlackBerry is known for the keyboards, right? And they have tons of patents on their keyboard. Ryan Seacrest and Typo come out with this keyboard case for an iPhone. It was a dumb case anyways, but it looked exactly like a BlackBerry Q10 keyboard. I remember, I think it was Crapberry Kevin went around CES asking people to tell the difference between the Q10 and the Typo keyboard, and people couldn't tell the difference. That's an obvious, ripoff of a BlackBerry keyboard. and that they still are using BlackBerry keyboards. They were at that time. They still are now, and they're fighting for things that they're using, just like you said, Brad.
And that's obviously, I mean, that's actually a really good example too, because that wasn't necessarily the technology that was being infringed upon. It was the design.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what's taking place here on 6 out of 7 of those patent infringements.
I wonder, I want to say that BlackBerry's is the one who started the whole DNR thing, right? Delivery.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So-
actually, I was reading the legal stuff to try and understand it. I think that's what they mean with a batching, is like how the Ds and Rs are sent to us in batches when somebody opens after not reading several messages. They all flash, they all change at the same time instead of individually.
I kind of briefly read the legal suit too, and those stuff, and I think that's in there too. But and I would be shocked if it wasn't in there, because that's something that is, I don't know if it's used. Well, yeah, it's technically used by Facebook Messenger, but it's not a DNR. It's more of a picture or their profile picture itself that tells you when they've read your message. Now I would want to say that the whole so and so is typing concept is also in there too, because something simple as that, the DNR, that's been used by a ton of, like, name me a messaging platform currently that doesn't use it right now. Good, you can't, because they all.
I don't think that.
No,
the
I
DNR
can. WhatsApp, the DNR isn't part of the lawsuit, and WhatsApp doesn't use it. I mean, if you look at, because the DNR is simple on BlackBerry, it's delivered and read, right? WhatsApp has the check mark and the little line and then another little line, right? And what they're doing is they're saying your message was sent, your message was received at their side, and now I think someone that actually uses WhatsApp now there is another mark now that tells you if it's been read, right?
Yeah,
but
Blue
it wasn't
mark.
there before.
it's a blue mark. Yep.
Blue mark. So, I mean, I don't think that I didn't see anywhere in that lawsuit. I read it twice, and I'm not a legal person, so I mean, I'm legal. I'm here legal, but I'm not someone that reads this type of stuff for fun. And I didn't see anything that had anything to do with that.
And if it's not in there, I'm surprised that it's not in there, because, like I said,
I just think it's a different technology. I think that's something that they're not. These are pretty black and white, and I don't think that one is.
Well, it maybe not in WhatsApp, but in Facebook Messenger it is. It's just not.
Okay, so I don't use Facebook.
It's not a DNR, but it's you send a message to somebody. There's I forget what's right next. There's nothing next to them, and then when they read it, their profile picture pops up that says they've read it, and then the chart starts showing that the so and so's been typing. So
The profile picture moves down to show how far they've read.
yeah, okay. So maybe it is a slightly different technology in Facebook Messenger, so maybe that's why it's not in there. Now, if they were going after Apple with iCloud or not iMessage, that would probably be right then and there. I mean, that's if people keep asking why Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram and not Apple. If you look at iMessage, that's really the only thing that's in there that is Apple like or BBM like. There's photo sharing and stuff, like that, but it's the really big thing would be the DNR, and I don't think that. I don't know if BlackBerry would.
As we look at the different things now that we see this lawsuit and we see how basic these things are, and we see these basic things throughout the entire mobile landscape, I think it really comes down to two reasons why we haven't seen BlackBerry sue anybody else. It's either one, they haven't got to them yet and it's coming, or two, that other company is licensing from BlackBerry.
Yeah,
because I mean, I think we're going to see more suits after this. I mean, these are valid patents. There's no denying that BlackBerry owns these patents. So the only defense Facebook really has is to try and delegitimize these patents, right? So I think this is going to be the big test. Well, can Facebook go to the judge and say, look, this is so basic, this is just a standard in the industry, and BlackBerry's patent should be delegitimized.
Yeah, but even that is like, even that concept is if it's so simple, but BBM's been around before all of these technology, all the messaging applications. So if it's something that's been around in the industry before and BlackBerry's patent is not worth it, of course it's definitely worth it because it was the first one to do it. So I don't think they would win in that case. I'm sure we'll get to the expectation results in a little bit here, but
well, I mean, how would you determine if? I mean, personally, I don't know. I'm not legal, but I'd be like, okay, if it's that basic that everybody can use it and nobody should be able to hold claim to it, then you should be able to remove it from your application and it not affect your user experience.
Yeah, that.
Right? So if you want to say that these numbered badges are useless and should just be basic for anybody to use, if you remove them from your app, would your users be okay with that? And I don't think anybody would be, you know, that it's,
I would be.
And that's why I think what Brett said in the beginning, Facebook have tons of money to pay BlackBerry to shut this lawsuit.
Yeah.
As I will pay 1 billion, 2 billion, and let BlackBerry target the next company that user patents. That's what I think will. That's how we'll.
Well, BlackBerry's not asking for a licensing or a payout and just continue on.
You want them to remove.
Exactly. Which I don't know if you could really request in a case like this to say, well, we'd like them to license from us.
I don't think that in these modern days, when everyone uses every other patents, I don't think that the court will rule that Facebook need to remove those features.
I don't think the court's going to rule at all. I think because a lot of these patent disputes, they last years, right? And it's years of going before the judge and sitting there and arguing, and then the judge comes back and I mean, you look at Samsung and Apple, it's years that this is going on. Well, BlackBerry's demanding a jury trial. You know, BlackBerry's demanding a jury trial for anything that, you know, is valid to be in front of a jury. So I think they're pushing this to have a fast case. And I think what will end up happening is, I mean, I don't think Facebook's going to be able to delegitimize these patents. These patents are definitely owned by BlackBerry. I think that it's going to be a quick case of it's going to go in BlackBerry's favor and Facebook's going to settle. And I think that settlement will be licensing. And then I think that will set the stage and that will be what we will start seeing happening from all these other people that are using it.
It would be funny if BlackBerry asked Facebook to mention that every time you use WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger that you use BlackBerry technology. Then BlackBerry
I would love that.
BlackBerry Facebook Messenger.
Every time you type on WhatsApp, you get an ad that you are using BlackBerry.
I just really hope that they make Facebook take away all these parts of Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp, and people are just forced to go back to BBM. You know, I think the court case starts later. We see a huge spike in BBM users.
Well, that's something else that I was going to say at the end of this, but BBM is all over the news right now. I mean, anybody that pays any bit of attention to tech has BBM in their feed right now. There has never been a better time to try and get people on BBM than right now.
Yeah. Start a court case with Facebook.
Well, hey, I mean, you know, a couple of weeks ago when Snapchat did their update and ran a bunch of people off of their service, and we saw people in social media saying, let's go to BBM. There were tons of people that were saying BBM still exists. You know, right now people realize that BlackBerry and BBM exist if they have any portion of their ear to the ground in the tech world.
Yeah, I mean, how much of this is, you know, for so long, and I don't think there's any reason, you know, a big portion of the lawsuit, but, you know, for a while, people have been thinking BlackBerry is dead, right? Well, how can a dead company sue a big company like Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. Let's get the name of BlackBerry back out into the market. Let's get it back into the news. The stock market's looking good right now. let's get this name back out there. I mean, I this, I keep thinking to myself like, oh, once we see one day when we see a huge spike in BBM users, do they run an ad say this huge spike in BBM users brought to you by Facebook's lawsuit, or something like that. But but yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting lawsuit that they've started, and it has a ton of validation to it. I mean, like you were trying to say earlier, I don't think that Facebook can go and say everyone uses this and BlackBerry's patents mean nothing nowadays, because BlackBerry patents were started before everything. So,
if Facebook will succeed to delegitimize BlackBerry patents, that means that every patent in the world are delegitimized.
Yeah. Yep. It means all the patents that Facebook holds, I don't know how many they have, but they're all...
They have like 3.
That means you can copycat Facebook and they can do nothing because it's in use by everyone in these days.
Yeah.
So I think no judge will rule against BlackBerry in this case,
unless you get a very pro Facebook judge.
I don't think
they're in California. The case is in California.
Yep, they're right in their back door, backyard. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I mean, we won't even have a trial date or anything. This could, happen next year for all we know as far as court cases go. It all depends on how backed up the legal system is in that part of the world. But
realistically, it's very difficult to be cavalier about anything involving the court system. We can sit here and say that they have no case, that BlackBerry will win, that Facebook will have to license or whatever. We can all sit here and say that, but realistically, it's very hard to predict what will happen, especially in something that is so intricate as this patent suit.
Yeah, I mean, if you follow any of the patent lawsuits over the years, even between I don't want to, the Samsung Apple lawsuits over the years, patent lawsuits over the years, they were too ridiculous to even consider them. They were just Samsung and Apple fighting with each other, But even after those, I'm starting a different point, but even after those lawsuits, so whoever won that lawsuit, now all of a sudden it's okay to copy each other's phones, right? Just because that lawsuit's been fought and done. Apple doesn't even have to go anybody. You have LG and Huawei making phones that have the little notch thing now that we'll see if that makes any, they're carbon copying of the iPhone. So, but now all of a sudden it's okay to do it because it's done with. But, it's weird how these patent lawsuits go, and they're very unpredictable of who they're in favor of or who wins them.
It's clear to us now, looking at this information and knowing what we know about BlackBerry and Facebook, that BlackBerry should win this. Do I think they will? I'm not 100% certain on that. It could very easily go a different way. And there's any number of variables that could make it go that way.
Well, California criminal courts are ridiculous. But California and Texas are the 2 states where most patent holders will fight to get their patent cases heard in. There's a reason that patent holders want their cases to be heard in California and Texas, and that's because the courts generally side with the patent holder. But again, this is, we're all laymen here. We're all just taking guesses. I don't think that there will ever be a jury in this case. I think that once they start setting their cases up, they're going to see that this is definitely going to go in BlackBerry's favor, and it's going to be a case of let's deal and get this done with, and you'll see Facebook licensing, and then you'll see BlackBerry using that as a precedent to go after other companies that aren't licensing. Because really, would you want to go after, name me some little messenger or a foreign messenger? What's that Chinese messenger that everybody's using.
WeChat or whatever.
Yeah, would you want to go after WeChat to be your first one and then say, well, hey, we won against WeChat, so now we're going after Facebook?
No.
I mean, they're making some huge waves by going directly after the big dog.
I don't know how this plays out. Say BlackBerry wins and comes out of this. I don't know how much in favor they're going to be to go after other. I mean, like you said earlier, we don't know how many of these other messaging platform or clients are paying BlackBerry to use these patents or anything. I doubt any are, if not very little. But I don't see them just, they don't have a hit list at the offense and say, all right, they're next, they're next, they're next, they're next, they're next. I think they go after the big names and call it a day.
But if BlackBerry wins Facebook and then they see that, God, I wish I knew other messengers, that they see that Joe Blow Messenger out there has copied them entirely, and then they go knock on Joe Blow's Messenger, their door, and they say, hey, you're using our technology here. Don't you just assume Joe Blow would go, well, how much is it to license it? Is it something that we're going to see a bunch of court cases? I don't think so, because I think that by setting that precedent, making all these news with Facebook, that the other guys are going to go, well, crap, we are using their tech. How much is it to license? And we know that BlackBerry's fair with their licensing. Look at what they charge, car manufacturers for QNX. And you wouldn't have a connected car without QNX.
That's a different. But I mean, if you look at, if you guys remember Kick Messenger?
There you go. That's one.
That was a very, even on BlackBerry OS. I mean, that messaging client was very in favor of BlackBerry. They were very friendly with BlackBerry. They were. I actually knew some of the people in that company very well.
There were BBM engineers.
Yeah, a lot of them were BBM. They came from BBM, went over to Kick, started their own company and such.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. It was kind of like the WhatsApp Junior of messaging, but that's a messaging client that's still around today. That's still going strong. And do I see BlackBerry going after them? I don't think so, because some of the things that they do in there is a little bit different. I mean, it's very similar to BBM, of course, but I don't think they go after little people like that. Facebook and Apple maybe with iMessage. Did they go after Microsoft with Skype? I don't think so, because
BlackBerry partnered with Microsoft. I don't think that
exactly.
They will sue them.
No, but that's also it's a web-based IM client too. That's not really mobile-based or mobile-centric. Because if that's the case, then AOL Instant Messenger is going to come back from the dead and start suing everybody. ICQ,
You got me, because I'm thinking about all the old messengers, and I remember the old Yahoo Messenger.
Yeah.
Didn't that used to tell you that people were typing?
Yeah, but I think so did like AOL Instant Messenger on the. I think that started on the PC client.
Yeah, and then carried over.
Yeah,
because I'm just thinking maybe that DNR isn't part of the case because BlackBerry didn't create it.
I used instant messaging clients before I ever touched mobile clients.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever remember DNR being any part of anything before BBM.
But the typing was.
Yeah.
Brad is typing. I would bet money that was not much.
Yeah, I would bet money too. Or bet what's left of Brad's hair on that. I mean, I can't bet Roy's hair. That's gone now. So I'm not going to bet my hair. That's too much hair. But yeah, I think the typing stuff is there. The DNR stuff, I don't ever remember it being there before. I've seen it on BBM, and I'm not just a BlackBerry, crazy nutcase over here. I use Technology Galore as well, and I've used Technology Galore before BlackBerry days. So I don't remember DNR being. It might be just something very basic that started out way back. Well, let's do this. Put you guys on mute and do a little Google search.
Okay then. So I've ran across a bunch of websites and posts that are essentially saying BlackBerry doesn't have a right to do this because BlackBerry's little and Facebook is big. I keep running into that sort of response. There was one post, and it was from a no-name site. It just popped up in my feed. I don't even know how it ended up in my feed, but I went and wrote a long little response to them because their point was that BlackBerry doesn't own BBM anymore, so they don't have the ability to sue Facebook.
False.
Exactly. Like I wrote a nice little response requesting that they correct their post because they were so far wrong. And the last time I checked, they hadn't corrected it. But my comment was there. They usually delete my comments when I say things like that.
So doing my quick research here, I think the delivery and read receipts go back to the early days of emailing, because you could always figure out when your email message was delivered and read by someone via like Outlook. So that might be who has the patent, or some email client has the patents on that one.
I think it's a patent for emails and messaging and mobile messaging. It could be different.
Maybe
it could be a lot of these patents. When you get in and start looking at them, it is for this process on a mobile device. You know, a lot of BlackBerry's patents, when you get in and look at them, they may not have invented the process, but they invented the method to do it on a mobile device.
Yeah.
But if it does go back to like what you're saying on email, we know BlackBerry started out giving us full email on mobile devices, right? So maybe that DNR really did just grow out of the old email clients and utilizes the same method. I don't know.
If I remember back to my PIN messaging days, and those are very early days.
Yeah.
I think DNR was in PIN messaging too.
Yes, it was.
So, I who knows where it started? I think DNR is so little of a technology nowadays that I don't think they go after anybody for that, because it is so little. I don't know.
Smaller than badges with numbers on it?
Maybe. Well, I don't know. Well, Facebook doesn't use the DNR technology technically, so yes. Yeah. So non-existing compared to that.
Maybe they're holding off on suing anybody for DNR and for iMessage.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my only thought process, is that iMessage is the one they're holding that one off for. But like I said, with iMessage, that's really the only thing that really they brought over from BBM. Or there's picture sharing, but I don't think that's something that BlackBerry holds a patent on. I should just go through the list of patents that BlackBerry owns and figure out what they can sue for. That's my project for this
They
weekend.
have 55,000 patents.
Yeah. Every patent that I've read has not been a pleasure to read.
Yeah, well,
going through the amount
if you read any patent, they're not pleasures to read. They're not pleasures to submit, for that matter.
Oh man. So yeah, what do you think, Erica?
What, are we done?
Oh, we were all over the board on this one, and I actually had it all mapped out and planned and outlined.
No, I really was. Good. We've hit all the points. I've been following along. We just didn't necessarily hit them in the order that you put out.
That's good. And we've got viewers, but we don't have any commenters. Romeo said hello, and that was about it.
Maybe we are just too riveting for them to tear themselves away to comment.
I was going to say that going by the topic list is not fun. It's just boring.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I figured we would take longer than we did. Did we want to at least comment on the fact that what we've been aching for has happened, and now there's going to be products out there that have the BlackBerry Secure branding on them?
We could, or we could also.
You just did.
We could also talk about the lovely BB emojis we've all created. We can also talk about the fact that BBM desktop is no longer on my BBM anymore. I think we talked about that last week, but we can talk about that again because it's really annoying. There's a lot of things we can actually talk about with BlackBerry right now. We could talk about tomorrow.
Let's hit on Punked first. Has any of you ever even heard of Punked before this?
No.
I've heard of Punked the TV show, but not this company.
Spelled a little different.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But they make I looked at their website. They don't make much. They make a dumb phone, which has a really odd shape and design to it. But I could see it being it's expensive, for a dumb phone. It's not like that light phone or whatnot. And they are going to be using BlackBerry Secure. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Why would they do that on a dumb phone? Well, it's not like you can install any sort of app on a dumb phone, right? You still want your secure communications, and you're one of these people that wants to get away from the constant notifications. I'm not one of those people. I couldn't imagine using a dumb phone.
Yeah.
I think the license deal is for IoT devices.
Yeah.
So maybe we are preparing to build new products.
If you look at their products, they're heavy on design and low on tech. They've got a dumb phone. They've got some charging, what do you want to call them? Like electrical connections so you can plug your chargers into them. And an alarm clock. They have an alarm clock and a corded phone. That's their product range. And you know what? I think it was Thurber on Twitter. Somebody asked what they were doing, and he was, or I think it was the Inside BlackBerry post had said select phones, and then Thurber retweeted that on Twitter, and somebody questioned what it was going to be, and Punked actually responded to that person saying that the BlackBerry Secure was going to be on all of their upcoming products. So it kind of makes you wonder.
Yeah.
I wasn't really prepared to talk about anything other than the suit, so
it's very interesting to see BlackBerry. We I don't even, did BlackBerry officially announce that they were going to start putting? Yeah, they did. But it's very interesting to see that they're starting to put their OS on things that aren't BlackBerry branded, which put it on everything that they can think of. Put it on my refrigerator, put it on my microwave, put it on IoT devices, put it on anything you can put it on, because I think I would feel a lot more secure with knowing there's things that are BlackBerry OS run.
And it's not necessarily just their phone OS either. That's like while Roy was talking about IoT devices, they can certify anything BlackBerry Secure and brand it, but as they go through and secure the different aspects of it. We do know that they're going to be licensing their Android OS to other people, not like how they've done with TCL or Optimus or BB Mara Pooty. But it's like they've really branched out, and we've known this was coming, and we've been excited about it, and we just haven't seen anything yet. So this Punked is just the first time that we're seeing it, and it's like finally, now what's next?
Better be my Android Wear watches.
Oh man, I would love wearables is a nice point, because how many stories have there been of wearables being the weak point in your security?
Yeah, if you go to like fitness trackers, they're very weak as far as location based. Smartwatches, I'm sure they're just as weak. Don't know the technology behind it, but I have an Android Wear device. I use the LG Sport watch. It's a phenomenal watch that I recommend. But I would love to take the LG logo off of it and put a BlackBerry logo into it. But I mean, it just would feel a lot more secure. I don't know. It's people call me crazy because I'm like security. But who doesn't want to be secure? I mean, that's such a weird concept of, oh, I don't care about security. Whatever, hack me away. All right, whatever. That's just a weird, I don't know, weird mind or thought process to have. Here,
all these people that are so upset that their credit card information has been accessed at Applebee's that don't have a lock on their phone. You know,
yeah,
it's like
you know, I look at Apple users for that matter, right? We've seen all these stories with iCloud being hacked, celebrities getting their photos taken and stuff like that. And it's like,
thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for that, I guess. But why would you want to use an iPhone now? Like, what's the point of why do you even have a desire to use an Apple device with iCloud attached or just iCloud in general? Like, what's the point? Like, does that not scare you? Like the fact that someone went into iCloud, took photos of celebrities, nonetheless. I mean, these are celebrities, right? Who knows what photos they have of all the other people? That's just, you know, and I guess it's a little more secure now because Apple forces you to do two-step authentication, but still, the fact that there was that
multiple times. And there's been lots of cases, not just twice. There's been lots of cases this year where people's Amazon cloud storage was hacked. And each time, if you look at this, because I mean, Amazon cloud storage is, I mean, you've got your consumer Amazon cloud, which is like your Dropbox or your Box or anything else out there. But you've got Amazon providing cloud services for anybody. And it's like, here's your space. Right? You can expand or shrink that space however you need, but you are completely in charge of that space. So securing that and using whatever system you use and operating system, that's on you. And there's been so many cases this year of big companies and even government agencies that use Amazon's servers essentially as cloud space and never even put a password on it. No, it was just out there open for anybody to run across, find the IP address, and it's there. That's like, these people have no concern for security.
Yeah, it's, you know, I'm just talking about your everyday consumers that don't have concern, but there's a lot of companies out there and high-level companies, you know, that are out there that just don't care about security at all. I mean, I look... You know, for my work, I help manage some mobile workforces for some companies, and the amount of people that just don't want to put a passcode on their phone, or that some of the companies don't even force their end users to put a passcode on their phone. Like, what are you thinking? Like, like you have your personal information, your work, business, corporate information going between these phones, and there's no desire to put passcodes on these devices. It's just like saying, here, my front door is open, take what you want.
Exactly. You keep hearing these companies say, no, I'm not going to say it. You keep hearing Apple say, we're not going to put a back door on our product. Meanwhile, the front door is wide open.
Yeah, well, that's a different story for a different day.
Yeah.
For a different podcast. Peppermint, Erica, tell us our new fun thing that we're enjoying.
What? Are you talking about the BB emoji?
Yes.
I think Erica should tell us about that.
I look like a freaking Peanuts character. That's all. It's amazing.
I love it.
It needs work, but it's new, so that's understandable. And I hate my face.
Well, I said last blogcast that I was not going to update BBM because of desktop and I didn't want to lose it.
You lied.
And all it took to get me to sacrifice my desktop was BB Emoji.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
I wish I could have gone back. But so, yeah, I mean, BB Emoji is pretty fun. It's kind of weird because I started messing around with the Bitmojis for Snapchat recently, too. And, it, you know, just comparing one to the other, Bitmoji is definitely more advanced than BBM emojis, but BB Emojis is still, day what, 5, 6 right now.
It's
So
awesome to have something like that integrated into BBM.
yeah, and it's integrated into BBM to a point. I really hope that I'm sure we'll get this a point where I don't have to go to the BB Emoji app outside of BBM to get the sticker and bring it into BBM.
No,
You don't have to do that anymore.
nope.
Oh, did they fix that?
There's
Okay.
a tab.
You
But that
may
tab
be
will-
on an older version of BBM,
Yeah.
which you can just go to APK Mirror and grab the newest one, because it was within hours of me posting what you had to do to use BB Emoji. The tab just appeared with no update. There was no update, nothing along those lines.
I haven't really
on
messed
that
with it
newest.
all week instead of I when I first started using it and I realized there wasn't a tab to go to.
I need to use the BBM Emoji app.
Yeah, you need the new
want-
version of BBM, because it's like they just flipped the switch. It's like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and do it.
But did they
And-
drop the
and
update, or did they? Because when
There's
I
no
did mine,
update. It was the last. It was the last BBM beta, and earlier in the day, you had to go use the BB Emoji app and bring them over, and it was, once you hit that back button, they disappeared, and you'd have to go back. And within hours, I mean, it was that evening, all of a sudden the tab was there, and you don't have to do that anymore. You have the tab. You choose your
I will wait
stickers
for
or
the official
BB Emoji.
release.
Okay, then you're gonna have to keep jumping over to BB Emoji app then. Or
now
be
I
on the
see
BBM beta like I am.
Now I
And
see
so
the
are
tab.
you, Brad.
Yeah, now I see the tab. I probably haven't been paying attention to that because I used it for the first day and then realized that I couldn't do that. It's like, okay, cool idea, but that would kind of stop me from using as much. But I didn't really pay attention to it, so it's there. Eric could prove me wrong.
The
I'm good at
Now
proving
you're-
guys wrong.
You're talking about the Bitmoji being more advanced, and I mean, if you want to talk about like the art level of it, yeah, I actually enjoy the level of art in the Bitmoji more than the BB emoji. But the BB
Yeah.
emoji is a GIF, which the Bitmoji aren't.
No,
And
yeah.
and honestly, I mean, they just partnered with this other company. This other company has 2 more apps in the Google Play Store that uses the same exact engine and has the majority of the same exact emojis on it. So they really just tied this other company's app into BBM.
I need more color too, by the way. Just saying that.
Yeah.
I need more color.
And as you
Get
mentioned
some
this
more
earlier,
sun.
you mentioned this earlier that Snapchat is for one, Snapchat has never really been good on Android for that matter. But if you've been paying attention at all to the Snapchat update fiasco that's been going on lately, there's been a ton of people that just hate the new Facebook or the hate
Yeah,
Facebook Snapchat layout.
Brad and I discussed that on his podcast.
The
I
UTB
don't
Brad
know.
podcast.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
don't know
know-
what the big deal is because I actually don't mind Snapchat and it works fine on my Android. So
I didn't know people still use Snapchat.
Well, my point was that the fact that more and more people are not liking the updates, whatever, and I'm sure a lot of the people that don't like their new Snapchat update is just people just complain about one little thing changed or flipped in the app itself. But this is a good time for BBM to start showing off these type of features in BBM, saying, here, you're getting annoyed at Snapchat. Come on over to here. We have the same concept here, but we're more of a secure messaging platform than Snapchat will ever be or ever dream
It's a
of.
good time for us to do that.
Yes, that too. And listeners too. Don't just look at us as site owners and podcasters. You as fans should be saying, get rid of your Snapchat. Come over to BBM. You can do the same thing.
There's way less pedophiles on BBM.
Yes, and you can still share your photos in 5 seconds or less if you need to.
Yep.
So,
In case you're
never into
mind.
that, and then you can also store them if you're using a BlackBerry Android device, such as the BlackBerry Motion or the BlackBerry Key 1. You can store those photos inside the BlackBerry Locker, so those photos don't go to any other type of cloud storage devices.
Yep.
But I will tell you, my only gripe with BlackBerry Locker is you can't take it anywhere. You can't put it anywhere else, like on an SD card. if you can, someone show me how, because I have been trying to figure that out for a few weeks now.
Oh, you mean the actual storage?
Yeah, so the storage sits on your internal storage. You can't move it. You can't move it. It makes sense, but if you have, a key one that's 32 gigs of storage and you're an application nutcase like some of us, me, you sometimes you run out of storage very quickly on your 32 gig key one. And I'm wondering how much of that, I don't store anything in Locker, but if I did, how much of that stuff would be the Locker? I don't know. I think, it's a very cool app. But anyways, so if you're into Snapchat, come over to BlackBerry Messenger, buy yourself a new BlackBerry Android device. You can do all the Snapchat stuff on B.
I think he froze.
Yeah, Brad just pulled a Dave.
Yeah.
That's something I never thought I'd say. Oh, he's back. Yeah, you froze for a minute, buddy.
Oh, did I?
The sad thing is, I don't think anybody that's listening to the UTB Blogs podcast or the Barry Reporter podcast or the Barry IL podcast really needs to be told to use BBM. I think it's people that have no idea of our podcast that really need to be transitioned over here.
So what you're saying is we need to get this podcast on Snapchat somehow.
Erica, are you recording us?
No.
Can you do a live feed to Snapchat?
Yeah, Snapchat only lets you do like a 5-second video or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They don't have live streaming or anything like that.
Mm-mm. It's
But anyway,
literally just a snap.
This isn't the Snapchat UTB Blogcast. So, move on. Back to BBM emojis.
If you want a Snapchat podcast, then go listen to Brad's last episode because it's awesome.
Yeah,
Not
That
that
was a
I'm
good one.
biased.
Erica came and recorded with me for my last UTB Brad podcast. I'm still waiting on BlackBerry Brad and Barry IL Roy to come join me.
correction, I'm still waiting on UTB Brad to give me a time and place to record
Oh,
the BlackBerry Brad.
All right,
Enhanced.
boys. Put the swords away.
If you want me on your podcast, it must be on my time zone.
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
I need to be away to do a podcast.
You have to go visit Roy to go do your podcast with him.
But actually, this would be a really good time for our podcast because we talked about what we were going to talk about, and this would be a good time for it. So
Are you
let's try and do this.
You
Huh?
you don't.
No, I don't
sleep
mean
at
right
night.
now.
No.
Huh?
You don't sleep at night.
I
You
don't
can-
sleep at night anymore. I don't know what's going on.
Your
with me.
night is my day, so we can record
We
it.
can do it. I tend to wake up on my own around 3:30 a.m. my time, so just be ready to record.
Erica, I think they're trying to get rid of us. I don't know.
No, we're not recording now. I'm not ready.
No.
I gotta take a shower and stuff.
For
Wash-
Roy's
wash-
podcast?
Wash the UTB Blogcast off of me.
You know what? I think we're at a point where we can just go ahead and say goodnight.
All right, folks.
Well, they blew
Yeah.
the whistle. We're done. They're cutting us off.
Last words, anyone?
Go BlackBerry.
Go BBM.
Raw.
Beat
I
those
will be more
Facebook boys.
productive and say that go and listen to Simple Security, the 5th episode. It's about end-to-end encryption and the biggest weakness of end-to-end encryption. And enjoy.
I would say go listen to the Bear Report podcast, but you can only listen to it on YouTube, and you can't listen to it onto any type of audio podcast right now because they're not there anymore. So,
Yeah.
It's not
I
on your
wondered
site.
about that.
So for anybody who hasn't been paying attention to my Twitter account or Bear Reporter Twitter account, Bear Reporter switched. We've been switching our podcast hosting site, and we've been kind of going through some changing. And I have to resubmit all the episodes that were currently listed because I had to cancel my other hosting site, and they were forcing me to download all the episodes and take them with me. So I'm in the process of doing that. Actually, if you go to Pocket Cast, that the podcast is on there. If you go look for bearreporter.com, they should be popping up now, but And then they'll be all back on iTunes and such. So keep an eye on BearPorter.com's Twitter account to.
But we'll need to resubscribe because that's what I was looking. I haven't got any new episodes from you, so we'll have to find your new feed and resubscribe.
Well, I haven't posted any new episodes as of late, so I've been waiting for all this fiasco to go away. I thought this was gonna be like a simple like 3-day process, and it's turned into like almost a week process. So, kind of.
You could have just posted on UTB networks, man. I told you.
I would have to drink the UTB Kool-Aid and all that stuff, and I've been cutting back on the Kool-Aid.
It's great flavored. It's great.
Yeah, but yeah, the hosting site will save me money and save us money, so that's always going to be good. And hopefully, once it goes through, there's some cool features that I'm really excited about using, and it'll make Brad jealous.
Voicemail.
Yeah, it'll make Brad jealous because it's a cooler concept of doing it.
Roy made fun of my voicemail, and nobody's used it. So hey, leave me a voicemail for my podcast 475 UTB Brad. If you want to leave a voicemail for the blogcast, you can do it there too because it's not really being used.
Should we also give them the phone number to the old Crackberry podcast too while we're at it? You know, that thing's still in service. Go and call them.
I would prefer them call me, but you know, whatever. All right, I think we're done.
Yeah.
Good night,
Good
folks.
night.
Good night.